What's up guys, Barry here with another machine tutorial, and in today's video we're going to look at utilizing sends to minimize our CPU usage inside a machine. So if you're using the Machine Plus, looking to improve your workflow, or better your production and engineering techniques inside a machine, this video is for you. Down in the description, you'll find timestamps to all the sections of the video. So what are sends? Sends are secondary tracks, in a machine's case pads, where you can route one or more audio signal to. Benefits include minimizing CPU usage, saving time, consistency in your audio processing, and improved workflow. There are two main types of sends. There's aux sends, which is used to send varying amounts of a signal to somewhere else, such as a reverb or a delay. The second type of send are called bus sends. And bus sends are used when you want to control multiple tracks simultaneously to control volume or processing, for example, on vocals or instruments. So before we learn how to use sends, we're going to look at how it minimizes your CPU usage. So for this first example, we have plugins engaged only on our aux send and our bus send, which results in a minimum of 8% and a maximum of 12% CPU usage. So in our second example, we no longer are using aux sends or bus sends. Instead, we have plugins on our individual pads, which result in a minimum CPU usage of 13% and a maximum usage of 19%. So imagine if you're using multiple groups and different software instruments, this could easily get out of hand. Okay, cool. So now moving on to how to actually set up your sends. So here we're going to use our kick and our snare, and the first thing that you need to do is have a destination or where you want your audio to get sent to. So here we're going to use pad 5 on group C. So you can push down on your encoder, make sure you're not in the instrument type, but instead the effect type, and select the effect that you want to use. So for this pad, we're going to use a compressor. Moving on to pad 6. So once again, push down on your encoder, make sure you're in effects. This time we're going to change the vendor from internal to native instruments, and we're going to select ROM, one of their newer and better reverb plugins. So to look into our mixer real quick, you'll notice that we're yet to route sound to group C. So how to go about doing so? First, you're going to select the pad that you want to affect, followed by channel, which is on the top left of your hardware. That's going to lead you to a couple options. Use your encoder to move to output. The first page refers to where your main audio gets sent to. Push the right button to get to your aux sends. In Machine, you have the opportunity to set two aux sends. In terms of post and pre-fader, when using effects, you generally always want to be in post. Next, you're going to use knob 1 to find your destination. So in this case, our compressor is in group C, pad 5. The last thing you're going to do is set your level. So utilizing knob 2 for compressors, I tend to set it to 0 dB as I just want some signal going to the compressor, and I'll use the compressor to dictate my output. So we'll do the exact same steps for our snare drum. So order is always in post. Knob 1 will select our destination. Knob 2 will select the level. So again, we'll set it to 0. And if we did it correctly, we'll see some signal now getting sent to group C. All right, cool. So that is how you set up an aux send inside of Machine. So now that we learned how to set that up, let's do it real quick here for our snare drum. This time, let's set up a reverb. So whereas for the compressor, we set the level to 0 dB, for a reverb and other effects, you adjust the level to taste. So based on how little or how much of that reverb you actually want in your track. Alright guys, so on to setting up a bus send. And in all honesty, an aux send and bus send, in my opinion, are pretty much the same thing. But in this scenario, let's use the sample. So when finger drumming, I have each pad triggering a different part of the sample. And if I want to change the volume of the entire sample, if I'm working through groups, I need to change each pad's volume. Now you can see how this gets very annoying and very tedious. So if you're thinking I could just go into the group and adjust the volume as a whole, I cannot. Because if I'm adjusting the group, I'm also adjusting and altering the drums, which in this case, I do not want to do. So let's utilize the idea of Aux Sends, in this scenario specifically, the idea of bus sends to create a solution to this annoying problem. So again, you're going to hit channel in the top left of your hardware, find your output. Instead of using page 2 where you have your Aux Sends, you're now going to utilize page 1. Page 1 dictating the main destination of your audio signal. And just a quick reminder, in order to create a send, you need to have some sort of audio effect on an empty pad to send to. Okay, cool. So now we have pads 1 through 4 routed to pad 1 in group D, which is now acting as a sample bus. So to quickly contrast the first scenario to this scenario, the first scenario I had signal coming out of group B and group C, which was my effect sends. And this second scenario, I only have signal coming out of group D. So now I can control the volume of the entire sample as a whole without having to change the volume of the pads individually, therefore allowing me to work a little bit faster and maintain that creativity while I still have it. Once again guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If this video brought value to you, please hit that thumbs up button. Down in the description, please let me know if there's any topics that you want me to cover in future videos. And of course, hit that subscribe button. Thanks. Peace.